just a few introductory slides that we can have. So we are talking today about Pathfinder and FET, Open Proactive, but also Transition to Innovation. It's already part of the pilot. So that's the focus of today. And obviously there is, together with Accelerator and the coaching and mentoring, let me highlight again that this coaching and mentoring and business acceleration services is available to both Pathfinder and Accelerator. Of course, for the Accelerator is more established, but there are a lot of extensions and new things even in store for Pathfinders. Now, in the Pathfinder, obviously, we are not starting from scratch. I think this is clear already, and we are building on the, let's say, the history and the successes of FET. FET Open has been from the first to be part of the Pathfinder pilot, and then we have the Proactive has been added already from 2019, and the transition to innovation activities have complemented the two schemes and filled a much needed gap. We just in February we have the on-site evaluation of the transition to innovation, the first T2I call, where I was quite happy with the feedback that we receive, both in terms of number of proposals, but also from the participants and from you as well. We will select and we will soon announce the results for around 13 projects, T2I projects, that will be the first ones to start. And then the program managers will join us soon, the first 3 or 4 of them, and then you may have seen then the publication of call for expression of interest for the 5th program manager regarding the Green Deal, and we are counting on you to disseminate this information. So we will start in a first phase with 4 program managers. Okay. Now the EIC Advisory Board, it's already had 2 meetings. It's a great discussion, atmosphere, teams with several working groups, and I think it's an excellent addition to the EIC and great contribution. Now let me go into the work program update, focusing obviously on the parts that have been updated and changed. Now a bit of explanation, if you want, why we went to this change. Well, we have done this if you want, this work program already in 2018 basically, and since then quite a few things have changed, including a new commission and obviously new political priorities. So Green Deal and Europe Fit for Digital Age are clearly the 2 top political priority, and that's why we have proposed this update to adapt the board program to strengthen these two aspects. For whether we are talking about the Green Deal, and energy obviously is an important aspect of the Green Deal, and AI or digitization, etc. But again, focusing of the upstream aspects of the advanced research of the low TRL. Okay, and then we also, I think we're quite happy with the response that we got, both on topic of AI and on the energy topic. Okay, and especially on the energy, this was a new community, or at least certain discipline were new community for us. Okay, so that's why it was important to get this feedback, because imagine we wouldn't get enough proposal, then adding a new topic in this respect would have perhaps been risky. And for the moment, it's only a pre-publication. You have the URL there, but at least for even if we have all this disruption with coronavirus and teleworking, we are on track to publish, to adopt and publish the call to adopt the work program on 23rd and to publish the call on 26th of March. Now, let me give you a first of highlight, iceberg view of what has been the changes. So first, we go from 4 proactive topics to 5. In other words, a completely new topic, which is the breakthrough zero emission energy storage and conversion. You may remember in 2019 we have energy generation, so we try to kind of go towards a various sort of a chain of we need a new energy generation or clean energy generation, but if we don't have the storage and then obviously the conversion is, if you want, related to both of them. You could see it as a sort of a long-term storage, if you want. And then the other one remains as they are, but the extended social interaction topic is basically complemented or extended with artificial intelligence for extended social interaction. Okay, these are basically the main 2 changes. Apart from the budget is slightly increased, especially the FET Proactive 07, which go from 50 million to 56 million. Basically, in such a late kind of situation, you cannot make huge changes in terms of budget. So the kind of solution which was really appreciated by the program committee was to increase slightly the budget and not to drop one of the topic, which in this case was measuring the unmeasurable. So that was maintained, but with increase due to this increase in the budget. The other topic, FET Proactive 08, remains unchanged. Obviously, this update, which was done in a relatively short time, I would say, at least for our processes, including consultation with the member states and internal consultation, has been in a very short time, imply a change in the timeline. The call will reopen on 26th of March and will close on 2nd of July. Again, with respect to the closing time, with the caveat that I mentioned before, depending on the situation with the corona, it may. But again, for the moment, let me highlight there are no such plans, but it may be prolonged. We don't know. But for the moment, take into account 2nd of July closing time. Now, let me go a bit into the detail. This is nothing new. Let's say the FET and the proactive specific challenges remain the same. The projects here intend to explore and, in the case of proactive, consolidate new technological paradigms. That's, if you want, the number 1 challenge. We want to do this in an interdisciplinary way. This is, again, the second hallmark of FET and Conservative Pathfinder. And then we want, specific for Pathfinder proactive, as if you want, opposed to, or at least complementing the open part, you want to stimulate the emergence of innovation ecosystems. So the project should not only focus on themselves, but also making links, and this is even more important. That's why, for example, in the 3rd pillar, we have an ecosystem pillar. They also have to contribute and to proactively establish links with the ecosystem around them. Okay. Now, again, we are talking here about high risk, high reward. So what does it mean? We want to have a deep tech, but a particular deep tech, science-driven deep tech. The proposals we are looking for should not be incremental research, and you may be surprised, may say, okay, we know this. Yes, we know, but we see again and again that the proposals that we are receive are not always non-incremental, okay? And we'll see later on they are penalized for that. So really take this a bit serious. And then on the other, if you want, at the other side, we we are not in a ERC kind of scenario here. ERC is there, it's great. So you should advise the proposers if you see that there is certain idea may fit better into the ERC to go there, and because if it's too, if you want, if there is no technological component, let me put it like that, um, then that might be not suitable in the Pathfinder, okay? And then we want to go up to a demonstration of this technology with a game-changing potential, because sometimes we see this that there is too much focus for the research in itself and not comparing with say, we have other if you want technologies or means to do the same, which are much cheaper, and then there is no game-changing potential there. Okay, so high reward must be highlighted there. Okay, so I would in the interdisciplinary community definitely think about social science, new actors, and so on. The subtopic for FET practice 07 is the four topics as opposed to the four subtopics, excuse me, as opposed to the three subtopics in before. Again, breakthrough zero emission energy storage and conversion being completely new. Now, let me enter into each of the four subtopics of the FET practice 05. So, AI for extended social interaction. You may remember in the past we have just extended social interaction. We looked when we work on the work program, when we designed the work program at various future technologies, and definitely VR, AR was in quite a few indexes, so definitely there was a consensus there. Our advisory group also put this as a promising avenue for research. You have here a few questions that you could use, the proposer could use to develop their proposal. What is the next thing in the social media? I mean, we have already quite a few years now where the social media is permeating our lives, including on a personal level, family and friends. So we should be able to think critically what are the good things, but also what are the bad things and what are the European values. I think that's quite important to look at it. And then, for example, a question of transparency, accountability, trust. I mean, it's really there is. I was reading this morning a news about a report from AIS about how external state actors are using the latest corona crisis to attack the European Union and the basis of our society, subminating trust in the efficiency of our measure, in the efficiency of our medical service security, and so on. I mean, these may not seem as such, but they are important or threats to our countries and to our society. So, can we fix this? Can we, as a next generation, try to improve on that? Apart from the beginning, by design, so that we can, from the beginning, kind of stem the fake news and disinformation campaign. Okay, belief formation is an important aspect. You may have heard this also as well. But it was on the internet. It was on the Facebook. I heard it from somebody, from my friend or my brother, and so on. And then we see that the long-term implications may not have been even dreamed of from the beginning, and these are important critical questions that the proposer should take into account. Now, what should the proposal take into account? Explore this combination of AI and the immersive and interactive technology. Okay, you can consider this as a case of edge AI, again, put as a new trend. so that AI is moving from the core to the edge, address the redefinition of the social interaction, um, address the trust issue, belief formation, and this organization dynamics. Obviously, we are talking here about huge reach and huge populations. Um, Now, we are talking about human-centric AI. Again, that has been put as a European, as AI form of AI that respect the European values. So we want more social intelligence, and we want to look into what are the perceptual and other factors that influence the belief formation, the self-perception, uh, even issue of addiction. I think, again, after quite some years about social media, we can definitely see certain phenomena in this direction: addiction, um, acceptance, trust, and even safety and health. Um, Now, if we move into the second subtopic of FET Practice 07, again, this is a new one, and it's together with the AI, it's a concrete answer to a better align to the Commission priorities. Um, so, if we start a bit with looking at what is the issue today, we clearly see that clean energy is one of the main challenges that we have today, obviously in Europe, but beyond. Um, European Union has set, and this is quite recent, and warrants the changes, the update as well, ambitious goals. Okay, not only 2050, we clearly have some intermediate goal, and in autumn there will come more. And so having clean and sustainable energy is not anymore, and will be even more, not a nice to have kind of I like to have it and my competitor not. It will be a must for everybody. We see that there are current certain inefficiency and bottlenecks, especially in storage. I think we all agree that storage is one of the main barriers with respect to the, let's say, um, coupled, if you want, with renewables, whether sun or solar or wind. The current battery technologies are, are not ideal. Whether the battery capacity is insufficient, or that the cost and capacity are enough for the long-term storage and obviously distribution. Okay, so it's clear that we need um, a more, let's say, a different technology, whether it needs to be compact, portable, and obviously zero emission as well. And then the conversion, if you want, you can see it also as a long-term storage aspect from that angle as well. Now, what do we want in this subtopic? Well, we want to have early exploration. Again, we are here in Pathfinder FET, so we are talking about early TRL, um, about for the um, new forms of thermal or electrical storage and conversion. And let me highlight again that we had a first in 2009, a first court with quite a big budget, minimum 35 up to 52, if I remember exactly, and we had quite some proposals there. So more the generation aspect has been covered, of course. Now we are talking more about next, if you want, next in the chain, about the storage and the conversion. Okay, so there are certain requirements that the call text puts forward, namely clean, obviously compact, and the target. So it's not might not be immediately, but the target, it has to be relatively low cost, because otherwise, obviously, um, may risk not to be adopted, and will be a great technology, but be applied. And then obviously we want to have, we say minimal, but ideally without use of rare or toxic materials. Okay, so the equipment or the technology should allow decentralized or mobile or portable use. Okay, and then could be whether a substitute for fuel or used in transport application. Okay, but also potentially for large scale. That's important thing. And then let me highlight, apart from the potential low cost that I mentioned, the high energy density. I mean, if we look back at the call that we had in 2019, we've seen some, game-changing application, but some were them on a nano scale or very small scale. And not only that, it was difficult to compare the two. That was one of the feedback that we received. But here we want to fund and to give public money if you want to the kind of change the world technologies. And then the proposal should identify the application area, or at least the main application area, and to provide performance targets and milestones. Okay, this is very important, and please highlight this to the proposers. And the evaluators have, I've again experience from the previous call, have sanctioned the proposal that did not respect this requirement. So it's not a nice to have. It's clearly required in the text. We will highlight this need again in our briefing to the evaluators, and whoever do not put this will do this on their own risk. Now, again, we want to have a new technology for storage and conversion, putting together interdisciplinary teams, and again, in the consortium and with interaction with outside consortium, lay this foundation of the innovation ecosystem. Some examples, because otherwise it may become too abstract. But again, let me highlight that these are just some ideas, some direction. It's by no means exhaustive, exclusive. So first, we want storage. Some examples: storage and conversion of clean energy, whether it's coming from wind or solar or geothermal. That's one direction. Solar fuels and solar chemicals. This is the second direction, covering if you want, the conversion aspect. For the moment, the main if you want, ingredient that I have seen, and we also have already projects on that, is the CO2, whether concentrated or from the air, but there may be other ideas as well. Do not forget about the circular design and the recyclability. This is also, there are also legal requirements in this respect. And very important, please highlight this. Research on battery are not included, should not be included. Again, not because this is not important, but because there are numerous other calls, including low TRL, high TRL, IPSE, you name it, on batteries. So they are definitely important, but there is already much bigger amounts. And you may, when I say this, you may have had, if you want, you may have a deja vu kind of impression, because I was saying the same thing with the previous call in 2019. Then we get the extra budget, then we remove the limitation. So I hope you are not confused, but here it is clearly, I mean, the call will open in a few days. So unless something dramatically here happened, the batteries are not in scope for FET practice 07, okay? Just to be clear. So in terms of expected impact, again, this is in line with the impact for other calls. We want this foundation, exploration foundation for new energy technologies, using the, let's say, FET typical approach, including not only interdisciplinary, but with future high potential actors, from young researcher to high-tech SMEs, and I underline high-tech SMEs. We are not, I mean, not any SMEs, but the ones that are interested in this domain and intensive, research intensive, and first-time FET participants, whether we are talking about, let's say, young researchers or researchers from widening countries, women, and so on and so on. Okay? If the subtopic C, and again, let me highlight that this has not been changed with respect to the previous call, is about digital twin for life sciences. Okay, just a bit of background. We put there a bit of definition from media. Again, when we look at various top 10 technologies, digital twin was also among them. And digital twin in the industry, if you want, is something that is, well, not current, but it's already more established. We have a few examples from the engineering world, from Siemens and IBM, et cetera, where they are making use of them. And now, basically, we see that this concept is migrating to other areas, okay, that are more challenging. So I've seen examples, or I've seen talking about, using having a digital replica of an engine, like airplane engine, or even like a ship or a submarine or whatever, and all these kind of advantages that you could have in terms of impact, predictive maintenance, you name it. Okay, so from that point of view, these are quite. It's relatively established, of course. It's progress is happening, but we want to do this to the next thing that may come in 5 years or 10 years from now, namely digital twins for life sciences. Whether we are talking about an organ, whether we are talking about about the whole body. I mean, the call is providing certain flexibility. Let me go into detail, a bit more into detail. So what we try now is to extend the digital twin concept to the non-engineering world, and here we have split it, if you want, into two as parts. First, the core challenge would be to design, to come with this the digital twin first, and then to keep it updated, starting from various sources of data, models, but also having a two-way communication. Okay, so it's not only the statical aspect, but also the dynamical aspects. Okay, using all kind of information and sensors from the real life object, what we call the biological counterpart. Okay, and here we are mentioning the artificial intelligence again. So here it's advanced AI, if you want, is more the mean. This doesn't mean that it doesn't exclude advances in the AI that would help in this respect. Okay, but the main focus is about let's say the achievements of the biology and extending this rather than and using AI. Okay, and then we say that a further challenge. So stop to the core challenge. That's okay. That's okay. And then if you want to go the extra mile, is to look basically into the future. Okay, to look into the dynamics for predictive. I mean, I'm joking, perhaps only half, but I was giving the example of predicting maintenance of a ship or an engine. But how about our predictable maintenance? Saying that, well, if you continue like this, you will have a major issue with your organ or with your health situation. Okay, and even what can we do to improve? Okay, Um, now, this is obviously challenging. There is some work in this field in various places along Europe, um, but definitely we want to push the state of the art here. Okay, so we want to modeling, model adaptation and evolution. That's clearly one of the goals here. What is important is to also this tight coupling between the digital twins and the biological counterpart, whether we are and here again various scales are okay. So it's not a one size fits all. You can start with an organ or even suborgans and then or a whole body. Whether we are talking in vivo or in vitro, okay, that's hybrid twins or body on chip, organ on chip. All these things can be used. Okay, obviously sensing, monitoring, and imaging is important to have this bidirectional aspect. And you can look into various scenarios, whether clinical or not. Okay. With respect to how this can be used and why we should use and potential impact, obviously personalized medicine is the one that comes into mind. Advanced diagnostic. I mean, we see today how important this is, and you have seen probably the news about using, um, you know, high performance computing to do advanced diagnostic to filter various molecules that could be, or basically to do a filtering about that molecules that could um, interact with the latest coronavirus, um, prevention, and so on. Okay, and obviously, as you are probably used with our requirements, ethical implication should be taken from the beginning. Okay, and also what is possible to be done, because we have seen certain projects, of course, with all the best intention, that they say we'll do this and that by the end of the project, and they were not able to do it because the authorities in the member states did not allow them to. Okay. Now, let's move to the next topic. This is a topic that was unchanged. So, obviously, there is an accelerated drive towards miniaturization. Everything becomes smaller and smaller, and obviously, metrology needs to follow. As you go to higher TRL, you need standards, you need methods, apparatus to devices to measure smaller and smaller dimension, both in dimensional, both dimensional and temporal. Okay, so we give there certain guidance for nano, pico, attosecond. So this is, let's say, the next frontier, if you want, in terms of metrology. This regarding FET Proactive 07, the indicative sites are projects between 4.5 million and up to 4 years. But an important guidance, and we will definitely highlight this not only to all of you, but also to the proposers. Ask what you need. You don't have to go to the maximum size. Also in terms of projects or size. So don't have to have a big concern to you because this will increase your chances. No, do the number of partners that you need, but no more than that. Focus on your proposals, definitely. Think about the what I said in the beginning about reaching wider that consortium, bringing new participants, whether in terms of new researcher, new member states, new constituency that perhaps are not so included till now, from SMEs to industry. If you need, there is the possibility to use cascading grants. You need to mention this, whether to do some small experimentation, give some prizes, encourage adoption, etc. whatever you want to do, take into account that maximum is around 60,000 euro. Obviously, and smaller, it's always possible. The call has actually reopened on 26th of March and will be closed on 2nd of July. So we still have some time. The evaluation criteria are the same three, but and the threshold are slightly different in FET Proactive, the same in FET Open actually, where we give a higher weight to excellence, namely 60%. The total budget for the FET Proactive 07 again is 56 million, and then you have indicated in the work program and here in the slides how do we allocate this budget to the various subtopics. At least 12 million for the artificial intelligence, the breakthrough, and so on. And we want to we don't want to allocate more than 2 projects for the subtopic E, the nanometrology. Okay, 30 pages maximum in your proposal. So think a bit every sentence count, and then before we start the project, you have to have a collaboration agreement. And there will be a collaboration agreement also between the projects in the same subtopic, so that you act more like let's say the portfolio, if you want. And then for the proposal about the threshold, we want to have at least 2 from each subtopic, and then if there are proposals above the threshold, we want ideally we want to go for a 3rd one, and then allocated according to remaining budget. So in this way, it's a bit more complicated, I agree, but in this one, we try to have, if you want to achieve a balance between having a minimal number of proposals per subtopic, but also having a bit of competition between the proposals in the various subtopics.